Well, we're in another week that is just that one step closer to the Chelsea Flower Show, and I know that may not matter to a lot of people, but for us it's quite important. There's like a lot going on. We finished all of the lights, so they're all boxed up ready to go. There's some lights actually just below the camera at the moment. There are some other ones so they're the ones that I'm going to go and install, and then we've got a box of stuff that Landform were installed in, so I don't have to worry about all of that. Bathroom progress happening. We've got more of the cladding stuff, and we've got this cool green wall kind of thing that's going to go now behind the behind that toilet area, just to kind of like make it match through the theming. Probably unnecessary spending, to be fair, but that pretty much sums it up for everything that I do, really. So at the moment I'm trying to work out what to do about our social media scenario. At the minute, this is me filming, me setting up the camera, me moving it around and just trying to create a bit more interest. But we need to do something, because we know social media works for us. So I've said this time and time again to anyone that I'll speak to that asks me about it, but you might be interested to know that Instagram generated 95% of our business up until about a year and a half ago, which is just incredible. And now it generates next to nothing, and at the minute our growth is kind of stagnating. So I'm looking at our chart that we have for showing the, you know, all the sales, and the line, you know, is showing this increase over a period of say 3 years, but at the moment our sales revenue is pretty on par with what it was last year. On the plus side, we have, aside from the cost of or investment of all the stuff going on up here, we actually have less cost. Well, we don't actually. I was going to say we have less cost in labour, but actually what's happened is we've lost a member of staff, but the wages for everyone else has gone up. So actually the cost is around about similar to what it was. But like I say, I really want to do something social media wise, because I think that it will help generate more. Well, I want to generate more content. I want to generate more educational content. I want to, you know, go out. We want to do some stuff where we're actually going out and seeing clients. There's lots of things, and I can't be the person that does all the videoing and all the editing and everything else. And, you know, bit by bit, I'm learning more and more. You know, going back to that concept I was talking about last week, who, not how. And actually, why I was talking about that concept of who, not how, one of the important things is we actually found a bathroom fitter that will come in and actually do all of this, and it's costing us £1,600 other than buying the bits and pieces. But I think £1,600 for the labour and everything is a very fair price, and £1,600 makes much more sense for someone else to do it than for me to do it. And I think this is a prime example right here. It's me, I put in this aircon unit, and yeah, it looks alright apart from the fact the feet aren't actually fixed down. I think this looks okay, sure, but on the inside it's a completely other story. And I thought all this was pre-gassed, and it isn't pre-gassed, which means that actually there's a bunch more work to do. So we're now, well, as you can probably tell, it's now much warmer. The weather's really warmed up, and we need air conditioning on the, not only in here to get this going, it's a 7 kilowatt compressor, 7 kilowatt air conditioner. We also need to do the same for the first floor, especially with all the future plans that we've got. And I think really this just sums it up. So that's where the aircon unit's mounted. That bit's okay, but then look at the pipework running down, and it's because it's 5 meters and it's pre-flared, and I don't have a flaring kit and everything else. I can't shorten it. I don't have the tools to bend it correctly around the wall, and I'm just not the right who. So let's get the right who in to actually make that nice. And I mean, I can definitely tidy up that cabling that's up there. That's now all been made shorter because we cut the rest of the tray that was going all the way up to make the aircon fit there. It was literally the only space it could go. There was literally nowhere, no space down there, and no real space down there for it to go. So it makes sense there anyway, because the air actually does flow from there all the way down that way. Oh, and if anyone was wondering, this is Liam's absolutely awesome cabinet. It's really nice. In fact, if I can, I'll pull it out of the way. I'll just show you inside one of the drawers. That's one of the drawers right there. And the really clever thing is that you cannot open another drawer until this drawer is closed. It's got a fantastic mechanism. It's really, really well built, and we've got foam ready to go to have it all shadow foamed out. So I had to sit down and actually do some budgeting today. It was one of my things on my list, and just to work out that have we got the money to cover everything, because we've got the classic Amex bill, and we've just paid off just this month's, which was only, I don't know, 6,800, something like that. That seems to be, that's about our normal average what we buy with LEDs and other bits and pieces. But when we start spending really on like the bigger projects is where it jumps up. So next month we've got, so June, we have, other than our usual, you know, payroll and everything else, we've got VAT due, which is about 19k of VAT. We're going to have the Amex, which is about 12k, so almost double on the Amex with the spend of all these bits and pieces. What I try to do is I try to, if I'm doing these bigger projects, I try and spread it out a little bit. So as soon as we hit the 16th of any month, I can then go on and do my next lot of purchasing. So at the moment I'm not buying anything else until we get to the 16th, because we're not quite there yet, but we will soon. What else have we got? So we know we're spending £1,600 on the toilet. I haven't yet got a budget for anything with regards to the aircon up here or commissioning the aircon out downstairs. It needs to be done, but I have no idea what that cost will be. I think maybe 5k, I guess. I think if it was any more than that, we probably wouldn't do it. But I say that, I'll get desperate. I mean, it's hot up here, like really, really, really hot. Oh, and I've just realised actually that I haven't accounted for something, and that's rent. So our quarterly rent will be due somewhere in and around sort of the June period, I think, or probably the end of this month. I'm surprised actually I haven't had a rent invoice sent through yet. And normally we would have had one by now, I think. I'm just trying to remember when exactly those quarters actually fall. It probably would be June, actually, thinking about it, because we moved in June, so June would make sense as to, you know, it'd be due on the anniversary of when we moved in, which would actually be mid-June, 20th, something like that. But that's another 7k that we've got to find. However, I look at it like this, so I go, what have we got to make this month to cover all of our costs and actually, you know, ensure that we are in an okay position? And the reality is that we only need to have a 40k month. Now that might sound a lot to you, it might sound a little to you. To us, that's a really good month. It should really be our average month, but it's not, because I think I said in the last video our cost is 31k, so ordinarily without spending or investing on anything. So 40k is, you know, that's allowing to be able to do a bit of spend here and there, and kind of cover all of that. So if we get a 40k month, this month will be covered, and then June, well, it gets treated as its own really. June is when it can get a little bit difficult, because I'm trying to remember when the 6 weeks holiday is. Late June, early July, is that right? Something like that. When that happens, that's normally when we see a downturn in business, and the problem is at the moment is we've not got any money, any allowance for that, and we really do need that, because it's likely that those months will be 20k or even less. Do you like my lectern? It's pretty cool, right? I literally just bought this Amazon buy, and then I put the paneling on there. Just bolted it straight on. It'd be really good for what we've got planned in the future. But anyway, for the moment, I don't know how to, you know, like, without getting too deep into my own personal life, it's like trying to be honest, you know, meeting my, oh, you can't see it actually, I just realised it's just over there, just out of the way. Hang on, let me fix that for you. There we go. Right. Our core values, honesty, just up there. And basically, let's say, recently with all my plans, and you know, my last video was kind of talking about how much money was being spent in upcoming, and there was probably even more than that. And one of those, I'm not sure I mentioned about sign writing of the vehicle, and tomorrow was meant to be the day to get the car sign written in place for Sarah to, you know, start using that. And now that's not happening, because, and I suppose my wife is right. She said, you know, you need to tighten the belt. You know, you said you'd tighten the belt, you're not. You need to tighten the belt, and you need to, you know, put cash reserves in the business, because historically July and August are very, very quiet months. And it's like, well, okay, well, you know, and I get excited. I get excited about improvement and making things better and doing, you know, offering something amazing, and with a hope that it's going to generate a return. I don't necessarily always think about it like that. I think about, sometimes I just go emotionally, oh, I want this nice thing or whatever. I can see how I can benefit the business from that, but I really like this nice thing. And I suppose really it's the wrong way to go. It should be a bit more about, you know, oh, you know, actually, can we make money out of this? Which kind of makes me sad, because I don't always want to think about things like that. But the reality is that when you don't really have like loads of cash, that is kind of how you need to think. And so, you know, that's led me down a bit of a different road where I now need to just conserve a little bit more, well, a lot more really, and just trying to. So I've got, you know, like a lot of the spending I previously talked about. There's a lot of things that are just kind of just right, they're already done, deposits paid, you know, like the hydrovane conveyor and stuff like that. We've paid half of it. We paid for the, I don't think I mentioned the big tube for the, which is another £1,100 or something like that, or £1,000 for the Nakamura for changing over the bar sleeves quicker. Yes, there's just probably loads of things that I didn't necessarily mention because I just didn't really think of them at the time. But there's just all this different stuff. And the reality is that we do need to make more money, because, well, if I show you over here, there we go. That's just up here is our sales, and whether or not it goes in focus or not, I don't know. But, you know, so far this month we're at about 1,285, which at today's date puts us £1,200, sorry, not 1,200, 12,858, puts us £1,200 behind break even. So we're not talking about any, you know, like we're just literally talking about covering our costs. I've got loads of stuff in the pipeline that I'm sure is going to come through, but I'm just realising I'm just listening to this sales book at the moment, and I'm sounding like one of the salesmen that they talk about in there that like go, oh, I hope, I wish, I know that this is coming along. And I've always been like that, and that's just the reality of me, which is why I'm not necessarily the best salesperson and whatnot. I had a fantastic meeting this morning actually with a garden designer, and we were going through plans, and I really enjoy doing that. Eventually, at some point, I know I will be like, I don't want to do this myself anymore, and I want to hand this over, and that's what Sarah is going to be taking over anyway. But it's just one of those things that at the moment I'm enjoying that process. But right now it's just me in. Matthew and Liam have gone home because it's gone 2 o'clock, and Max is on holiday at the minute. So it's all fun. Coming up next week, we are at Chelsea. So I'm at Chelsea on Tuesday, and I'm on Chelsea at Friday, so that should be something kind of interesting. And then a week after, we get to see the very first and very public Dark Skies garden for the Autistic Trust, and it's going to have literally all down lighting throughout the whole thing, and I'm really excited about that, and I'm looking forward to seeing actually the end result. I can only be there for an hour, so I've got a ticket for like the whole evening, but my wife very rightly has said, you really need to come home as quickly as you can, because we are like right on the cusp of, you know, baby due, and it's like an hour plus for me to get home. So I really need to be, you know, like quite efficient with my time, avoiding being away at the moment. So yeah.